I think we're living in such an amazing time right now. I mean, if you are not being challenged in some way in your life, you're not alive. And all of this is an initiation. And I don't believe that you have to go to any school of ancient wisdom perched in the Himalayas or for information or training any longer. If you see your life as the school, as the initiation, then you can no longer be a victim to your life. You're going to have to meet the challenges in your life from a greater level of mind, greater than the mind that created it. It's more important for us not only to embody that peace and feel it, but then to demonstrate it. And when we begin to demonstrate it, I think we give people permission to do the same. That means that we can't be preaching peace and then be stuck in traffic and, flipping people off or, or arguing with your coworker. You don't get to stand up for peace if you have conflict in your life. So when we start that self-contemplative process of looking within, and instead of judging someone or something, look to see if there's an aspect of ourselves within that person or within that situation that we may need to change. And if we're all doing that at the same time, something greater, a greater consciousness is going to emerge. And so I believe that it should never be about a person. It should be about principles. And when we stand up for principles, that creates community. Because you could be one belief or another belief, but if you're sharing the same principles, which are joy and freedom and cooperation and connection, that's what builds communities. So then, everything in our world right now is reminding us of separation. Whether it's war, whether it's violence, whether it's political deceit, whether it's prejudice, all of those things cause us to live by those stress hormones. And when we're living in that state of survival, we're not trusting, and we become more selfish. So then, starting our day asking ourselves, what would be the greatest expression of myself I'd like to present to the world? And then making the choice to not get up until we are that person, I think that begins to demonstrate greatness. When everybody else is in poverty and lack, that's the time to give. When everybody else is in fear and vigilance, that's the time to show courage. When people are angry and hating and prejudiced, that's the time to show compassion. When people are competing to rush to get to the top, that's the time to change your energy and draw the experience to you. And if you keep doing what's unnatural over and over again, sooner or later you're going to become supernatural. And then what happens is that we have neurons in our brain called mirror neurons, and those are empathy neurons. And when you fed your kid as a child, you went like this. You don't know why you were doing that, but you were unconsciously or subconsciously asking them to mimic your behavior. And they look at you and they follow your actions. And so when you all of a sudden demonstrate greatness in your life, and I don't care if it's just letting somebody ahead of you in traffic or helping someone up or picking up a piece of litter or garbage, and people witness that, they're more prone to do the same. And so we begin to change the world, I believe, by changing ourselves.
Because as a scientist all my life, I did not believe in spirituality. And I was into genes and chromosomes and cells and all that stuff. But in understanding the nature of that membrane that I talked about in the lecture, our identity is not inside our body. Our identity is picked up by protein antennas on the surface of our cells. The reality is our source is from the outside, and the signals get picked up by the proteins and then control the cells on the inside. The significance for me at that moment, besides the shock of, oh my God, I'm not in here, was the simple reality that I said, oh my, it's like the body is like a television set and there's a broadcast coming in. It is profoundly important to understand the nature of some quantum physics, energy fields, and identity, and that we are not in this body. We are being broadcast to this body. as a scientist and not spiritual for 40 some years, and then in 1 minute after understanding the nature of the membrane, it's like 2 + 2 is 4. I'm not in here. It was oh my God, I'm not here. And that concept of being outside, then being immortal, was interesting. But then I wanted to add this part because I thought this was the exciting part about my connection with my spirit and my body. I asked myself as a scientist, I said, well, why have a body and a spirit? Why not just be spirit? Well, at that moment, 50 trillion cells welled up. An answer came right up through those cells. Bruce, if you're just a spirit, what does chocolate taste like? And if you get the answer for that is this. This is a virtual reality suit. You jump into this suit, you drive it around, the experiences of this suit are sent back to source. That's where we start to recognize your brain activity is not contained in your head. You can use magnetoencephalograph probes outside of your head, and you can read your brain activity. So you're broadcasting back to the field. And that's why we can see a sunset. We can taste that chocolate. We can smell that rose. And all of a sudden it says, oh my God, we came here to experience life and to create. And then all of a sudden it said, oh, the whole story might be the biggest cosmic joke in the world, and that is this. We have been told that when we die, if we did a good job on planet Earth, we can go to heaven. I would like to suggest something. You were born into heaven. This is where you came to create. This is where you came to experience. If you don't like the creation, the significance is we're not living our lives, we're living the lives of programs. And if you don't like the program, the new biology is the one that says you can rewrite it. And if you rewrite it to make your creation not the one you bought as the creation, you will manifest heaven on earth. You will wake up every day with the glory of being in the most spectacular planet and the ability to create life. And that's what the joy is all about. Thank you.
Links to books from Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton in the description. See you soon.